Okay. Good morning everyone right ใครเข้ามาแล้วไปเช็คชื่อดีกว่านะครับวันนี้มีอะไรมารีวิว midterm exam เราสอบ midterm กันวันที่15 15 of March on site นะครับ All right, good afternoon, good morning again, right? Okay, so to those of you who just enter into the Zoom, right? I just want to make sure that you check their attendance, right? Kindly check your name and ID student into the line, good, please. Mhm. วันนี้ไม่มีพรีเซนต์แล้วใช่ไหมฮะมีไหมไม่น่ามีแล้วนะ All right, I think it's time to start the lesson for today class. Okay, so basically for today, for this week, week number 8, right? So we have to review a bit for the possible questions for the midterm exam, right? So the test schedule is set to next following week, okay, on site exam. So you're gonna have like maybe actually they're gonna have 6 questions, right? For required question number 1, 2, and 3, and then for question 4, 5, 6 is all about like just additional question or just choosing question here. So what you need to do is that just choose only one, right, out of 3, and then put the answer. So it's all about like a Google form, right? So what you need to do is that just prepare, right, by writing and then editing or reviewing things like that, right? And upload the file, right? PDF file within like um you know Google document file, right? Okay, good. So for today class, yeah, I'm going to let you, you know, I'm going to notice a bit for the second half of the midterm, right? So we're going to do the project based on the MICE businesses, right? Okay, so basically what you need to prepare for maybe next week or next following week after midterm here is that this kind of project that we are going to do. And also that we're gonna have like a guest speaker on, I'm not sure which week, but maybe I will tell you later, right? Okay, so the first thing is that project title, background, and how is it significant or important it is, right? So what you need to do is that just group only 4 group, just a big presentation, right? Okay, so we're gonna have like maybe group 1 combined with group 2, right? 3, 4, 5, just but I need just only for 4 group here, yeah. And also just talk about mines, right? Let's say meeting, incentive, travel, exhibition, is that right? And then conferences, right? So what you need to do is that this is a key focus. Question number 2, what are the process of organizing and planning, right? And things related. And the last one is that benefit. So you have to compare if you run or if you organize such a campaign, right? And then what makes successful or contribution for this project, right? So for today class, we have to cover from project management and it's important, and then MICE management with PM Box framework. Ready หรือยัง ready กด 1เข้ามาครับ All right, as you can see from this project management, this is a key important for the final presentation here, just because I think that you have to understand the rule or regulation. What about the project management should do, right? Okay. แป๊บหนึ่งนะฮะเดี๋ยวขอหาก่อน All right. Okay, good. So for this slide, right, as you can see, multiple consideration must be planned and managed prior, during and after the event, and level of complication or complexity, right? That go into hand in hand. So here we can see that the planning have to cover from the first one, right? Contact stakeholders from the multiple of perspective. Second is that conduct a market research. So you need to research or well research on attendees, demographics, and demand. Which one is it easy to see that demographic or demand here? Research rules and regulation related to the country hosting the event, site visit and choosing venue and accommodation. So basically it's all about like location or setting that appropriate to that campaign, right? Travel arrangement of attendees. And also project management is a center, right? Is a crucial to MICE event management as a concept of project. So it must be temporary or it has, a definite beginning and ending. So you need to make sure that which date is start and then which date is ending of the period of time, right? So basically for your final project, so you have to specify the date, for example, like 1 week, 2 week, 4 week, whatever, right? Or even 1 day. So as you can see, project management is a methodology, right? That can be used to frame each phase in management event with activities that must be planned and execute in a timely manner, meaning that you have to understand the process, right? While you're running this kind of like activities here, just because if you plan ahead, so this kind of a process might go easily. Yep. And then the project management body of knowledge framework. So this one is very important just because PM box here, right? I can say that it is a key guideline or standard, right, to run the project management. That American, American National Standard Institute or ANSI, right? One of the most accepted framework of project management will be used to elaborate project management, the context of MICE event management. So here we have to follow, right, from PM boxes because it's all about like, the key guideline to run the project management here. Good. Moving to next, MICE event management with PM box framework. So just because it goes hand in hand, right? It is relevant to each other. So project management body of knowledge framework here is, a guideline or a process-based framework that requires 3 important components you can see here. So once you do the project, right, just because we have to, learning by taking any action, or I can say that if you run a project or do as a team, you can easily understood by doing it. Yep. So the first one is that documents, plans, and design. So you can separate the team for, making sure that the input of the information can run into the project, right? And the second one is that mechanism applied to input. Basically, if you are well researched on this kind of information or you plan ahead, you will manage with some designs, right? So you might go easily with mechanism or process you are going to do. And then the last one is that output here, I would say that it's all about profit, right? Or any contribution, effectiveness, or product here. So basically, the first one is that we have to make sure that the document or plans what should do, and after that just follow the step by step, right? And then after that expect on the evaluate the expected outcome again. Yeah. Right. Okay, so here we can see like for the project, right, you intern, right, these 3 components can be classified into 5 project management steps. The first one is that initiating, all right, begin, start something together. Second, plan. Okay, so basically plan and initiating might be in the same process. I can say just because you have to think and research, right? Think first and then research. Think first and how and why, right? Why is important, how we can do it, right? Things like that. And after that, executing our process. Monitoring and controlling. So sometimes like you're gonna have a limitation on, for example, like location, right? Attendees attending to the campaign or project or even exhibition here. So you need to make sure that controlling contributing factors here can be eliminated. And the last one is that closing, and you have to see the evaluation from the unexpected outcome. So here is a circle, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it for event management here. Okay. So for the first one is that project initiation. So you can see from the bottom one, right? This is the detail that you have to understand, right? I mean, like when it comes to do a project, so you have to follow the core instruction here. So project initiation is that contact with clients first, 1.1, right? Initial contract with potential clients can be through various methods with different lead time depending on the characteristic of an event, right? One, in organizing a corporate meeting and incentive travel program, organizers will use much less time to communicate with clients compared to the convention and exhibition. Okay, so meaning that in each form of like my business here can be done differently, just because you can see from the corporate meeting and incentive travel might use less time to communicate when it comes to see something on comparing to the convention and exhibition here, right? And for convention, professional convention organizer or PCO that we've been discussing so far, right? Usually start contacting clients or international association 3 to 5 years prior to the actual convention date. So this is like a big project, I can say. So maybe just see or monitoring what happened in this kind of convention, yeah. And then professional exhibition organizer or PEO, right, must initiate contact with their clients to 3 to 5 years prior to an exhibition. So we can see like from 2 and 3 here, it talks about the agent or professional organizer here, right? Yep. So this one like initial contact, just contact with those client, right? Moving to next is that pre-event meeting. So it's all about collaborating to each other. After contacting clients, organizer must clarify goals and objective, right? Expected and evaluation here, size of event and other requirement with client. So you can see like goal and objective here is the most important thing that you have to run or any plan for meeting here. This meeting can also be a good opportunity for a client to provide organizer with a required for proposal, right? So you can see like RFP here as a proposal. Proposal means what you are going to do as a plan. That's it. So corporate meeting and incentive travel, right? RFP usually require a organizer information, just research for this kind of information, event profile, name, duration, and itinerary, right? And then additional requirement, staff requirement, meet and greet requirement. So it's all about like requirement. You can say transportation, on-site event requirement, off-site or online event requirement, right? Or event theme. Requirement here. So the requirement can be classified in a different way, right? So just make sure that you put the information here and then run into the project management here. Proposal profile also the key important too, just because you can see proposal format to be submitted important date and timeline, right? publish date, due date, proposal presentation date, and decision making here. Yep. And also plan a content, which is really important and straightforward to experience with similar type of event, right? If you have to, some kind of experience of that event, you might be an expert with an experience here. Number of event years of cooperation, right? Just make sure that how many years, right? Insurance coverage and other references. Yeah. So the key detail here, just follow, right? Follow from the base information and then put into practice together. Next, project planning, right? All right. So as you can see from project planning here, we can see so many detail on the project planning, right? Just because it is a process is the process is very important for the planning of the project. So you can see from the project planning success depends on the amount of quality of information gathered in the project initiation, meaning that if you will plan from the project initiation, so you can run it easily from the project planning here. So the classification here is that event scope, right? Initializing the project serve an opportunity for organize together information regarding a number of attendees. Attendees important, total area required, total hotel rooms needed, and transportation services required, which is then used to estimate project scope planning. Okay, so this one is a scope, right? Estimate or rough estimation. Scope planning is vital and should be closely monitored, right? At all times, as any minor change prior to an event can potentially alter operation and harm to initial budget and resources allocation. So for this one, right, just make sure that the time specified is appropriate or not. Cooperation or even budget planning here is well managed or not. That's it. So you can see from scope planning and then scope defining here. You can make sure that the differentiation between the two, right? Just because I think that it might really important to understand this one first. So the first one is that scope planning, right, is the first step to create plan and how event scope will be defined, verify, control, and how it works, breakdown structure will be defined and create. Actually, just make sure that any kind of factors that affect to that project, okay? And the second one is that scope defining. It is a statement of what is expected of particular project to be executed, to be processed, or to be, successfully run into that organization. Scope, still scope, right? Project planning again, right? Scope defining, and then work breakdown structure. So the key term here might be important for planning, right? For project planning here. After defining project scope, merely a statement of intention by suppliers for a client. The next step of an organizer is prepare the following right? List of the tools and resources, procedures, time and money needed to complete the task. Actually, it's all about just make sure that what are using to that project, right? Seek input from professionals and experiences in the types of events being organized. And then create various plan. Actually, you can plan 1, plan 2, plan B, right? To have organized effectively and efficiently in order to achieve the goals or expected goal. And then list factors can limit the size of events such as budget and space of availability and at the desired destination. List all assumptions organizer imposed on the plan, potential risks and uncertainties that may occur. So here is that them defining, right? Defining whatever happened into the project, just because you have to make sure and limit, let's say, things go wrong, right? It happens from time to time, but you have to control and then do in front of the tasks too. And then work breakdown structure. This one is a key term, right? So it actually involves breaking down entire event into smaller activity. So you can list and then schedule, right? Smaller activity, for example, a presentation, discussion, things like that, right? Serve as a checklist to ensure the completion of quality in each task. So this one is very important just because if you are going to run the real project in the future as a practical skills, right? So you need to understand a bit and then we can go through this kind of planning here. All right, so work breakdown structure is still important here. We can see the keyword here, the WBS work breakdown, right? Okay, so here as you can list as a bullet point or number here. For example, here, assemble all equipment stand, assemble the projection screen, right? Place into the loudspeaker and projector on the stand. And list down again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. And as you can see, the process might go together as a flow, right? For bullet work breakdown structure, organizers can list out all subtasks that combine can complete the setup speaker and projector. So here is a little bit detail, right? I can say just discuss and then do a project together. Maybe after midterm, we can do the project together and sharing, consulting, or even discussing together. Yeah. Right. All right. More, right? So for this slide, as you can see, scope verification, just make sure that it's done perfectly or not, right? Is the process needed to confirm the client and correctness and completeness of the plan, and will vary in completion depending on the internal procedure followed by each organizer. A second, scope control. So you can see the differences between verification and control is not the same, right? Verification makes sure that it's done perfectly or not. Scope control is limit the possibility of weaknesses or even something went wrong here. An organizer to monitor actual progress in each task and in comparison what has been planned. You need to compare the failure or even success here to each other. Yeah. So we can see cost, project scope, and so basically it's all about like budget planning, right? So if you have some budget, right, just make sure that the project can be classified in different way. For example, like fixed cost, variable cost, or indirect cost, things like that. Yeah. All right. ทวนได้นะครับ detail. But I would say that it is very important for everyone to understand this kind of like cost budget planning here, just because you can see from the what it should be done or should not be done here, right? Okay. So for this slide, this statement is very useful too to organizer can use to track the spending on each item throughout the project timeline. So just list as a table plan here, right? Money, cost expected, budget planning, things like that. And the reality of that using amount of money here. This means that can be leveraged for the cost monitoring and control during the project control phase. Yep. Also, project planning, right? This one very important too, just because staff, people, right? Organizers need to single out tasks and designate each of them and appropriate due date, right? Okay. And then organizer can identify the human resources and competencies needed for each task to achieve on-time completion. So this one like how to manage people, right? Put the right one into the right job, that's it. And then second, quality. The quality plan directly dictate. Dictate means necessary, right? Service characteristic and will add up to overall client satisfaction at an event and usually interconnected with the staff planning. Yep. So for this quality, it related to the expected goal and estimation here. Next, communication. All right. Effective communication can be a key role to succeed this kind of project, right? So this plan spells out the communication among related parties to ensure every activity is performed by the due date and the promised quality, meaning that you have to connect or even talk to other people from time to time. So basically it ranges from the seniority, right? Agent or even PMC, things like that. So lots of things that you have to do with this kind of communication. Just make sure that the level of communication might be effectively done in this kind of process, all right? Okay. More and more, right? 2.6 and 7, risk management and then resources acquisition. Acquisition right here. I would say that for this one is very important just because we cannot even control it, right? And then risks is kind of like uncertainties, including natural disaster. For example, raining, thunderstorm, things like that, right? Political turmoil, riot, as a symbol of undesirable weather conditions can have a major impact on the events. So this one, like, for example, like the situation of COVID-19 outbreak is still the problem too. So risk management plan to create for an organizer to follow the case in case of unexpected event to be handled those kind of situation while continuing the project as promises, right? Okay, so here just because the show must go on, so meaning that if anything happens, just deal with the in front of the talks or if an unexpected situation can be happen from time to time, right? Step of composing risk management. This one is really important here, just because when it comes to reality, so you need to identify this kind of 4 strategic planning here. The first one is risk identification, qualitative and quantitative risk analysis, right? Checklist 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And then risk response planning and risk monitoring and controlling. And for next one is that resources, right? Resourceful management or resources acquisition here. As a project management, you can see coordinator and organizer with direct contact, where the client cannot perform all the tasks alone, and usually assign some of most tasks to external service providers or external seek resources that cannot be found in-house. What does it mean here? So basically is that you have to make sure that organizers can deal with this kind of resources, right? That, most fit to the service provider or even try to manage something here within what you are going to use it. Yeah. External resources and services required include human capital, equipment, accommodation, and logistics. That's it, right? So just make sure that the checklist again, human resource, people, human capital, investing on people, right? Equipment, facility, accommodation, housing, sheltering, whatever, and logistic or transportation here. And the last one, project planning, right? Schedule. Time frame. Each type of attendee has unique conditions when participating in an event. Make sure that you can make sure that all of attendees can cooperate or can come into that event on that day. And then this can include different turning to arrive of VIP, guest speaker, and other attendees of overlapping timing when each exhibitors can shift into exhibition here. Okay. Project execution เดี๋ยวนะเราขอดูกันแป๊บหนึ่ง3 จุดเราดูที่3นะ3.3 3.3มี3 4 5ให้เลือกครับผมแป๊บนึงนะ1 2 3 All right, you can choose from so let's say project management, right? And then PM box framework. So we can see we're gonna have like 3, 4, 5. Choose, right? Choose only one, right? Choose from the 3 and then 4, 5, and then this guest. Okay, I'm going to give you time, right? Preparation time for 5 minutes, and then we can share and discuss together. นะครับใครพร้อมแล้วนะครับเปิดไมค์ก่อนเลย if you're ready you can turn on the microphone here and then just talk yep เดี๋ยวครึ่งหลังจะสรุป midterm ให้นะครับห้ามพลาดนะช็อตนี้สำคัญนะฮะ
I'm from group
okay if you're ready yeah
I'm group for the topic which should be the three a project execution plan can be a valuable tool for effectively implementing and accomplishing the completion of a large work task. Creating a project execution plan can help you outline the required tasks, resources, and deliverable for the successful fulfillment of a project. Understanding the element of this plan may help you ensure your team meet their goal and the expectation of the shareholder.
alright done done ปุ๊บพิมพ์คำว่า perfect ดีกว่าวันนี้เปลี่ยนสีนิดนึงนะฮะพิมพ์ perfect เลยชมตัวเองไปเลยนะ perfection is the key alright if you're ready you can turn on the microphone here and then just talk and share yep
Group 1 ครับ Group 1 shows topic 4 ครับ Project monitoring and project controlling is one of phases in project life cycle. It helps in realigning activities with a project aim. It also allows projects manager to receive live feedback and the progress, success, and failure on an ongoing project. Without this process, you will find yourself unable to track down the cause of a problem happens in the project easily. Thank you.
Alright thank you so much for your sharing here just type perfect for me please perfect กี่คนแล้วฮะnext
Group 6 ค่ะ
yep
Okay. The project execution is the state of the project where everything in your team has planned is put into the action. It is highly dependent on planning accuracy and completeness. Also, the plan will be based on changing client requests and unexpected event, and it divided into 3 parts. Information distribution, it's the concern with communication among organizer, clients, staff, and service provider, and is intended to update project progress.
Next,
yep
next, project administration and modification. The organizers need to be ready to adjust an initial plan to cope with the actual situation at any time. And the last, executing resources acquisition. The organizer have to understand the resources acquisition and be consistent in monitoring and controlling the tasks until the event date. Moreover, organizers have to ensure quality events that meet client satisfaction and budget. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing here. Just type perfect for me, please. Next.
Group 7.
Visual project crossing. Completed program and activity for a MICE event mark the beginning of the project crossing phase. Crossing doesn't mean organizers are entirely finished, as it contains a set of activities that may be done after delivering what client wants and will vary between each type of MICE event. Administrative closure has to do with preparing documentation as to the product and process delivered to a customer asking for approval, recognizing these deliverables have been provided, and redistribution of project assets that were rented.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing here. Just type done. I just typed perfect. Sorry.
We didn't done that yet.
Yep.
We haven't done yet.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Can I continue?
Yep.
Okay. And for the first one is post-evaluation. In evaluating organized event, organizer must create evaluation tools to evaluate all stakeholders involved in an event, and will include hotel, revenue, logistic, service provider, audio visual service provider, exhibitor, and on-site staff. The second one is post-event meeting. This meeting should be held after the event finish and attended by every party solely to summarize the result of all activities and conclude achievement and issue during the event. And the third one is measuring return on investment or ROI. Include two processes. One, measuring ROI. For non-profit association is to compare result with initial investment. And the second one is in case the actual outcome did not meet expected outcome. Organizer must be able to identify factors that went wrong and the extent of their impact.
Number 4, post-event report. Result of the PEIR and post-event meeting and synthesized to compose the post-event report pointing out every achievement and lesson learned from project initiation to the very end. Number 5, database preparation. Every document, planning information, meeting information, other technical information is related to the event since the initiation until it finishes should be properly organized and arranged into a database. And last one, number 6, other activities. Other related activities can be preparing thank you notes for sponsor, guest speaker, VIP guests, and volunteers. Moreover, organizer can hold functions to celebrate the success of the event among staff as well as use this opportunity to present reward for distinguished staff and top performers. Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you so much for sharing here. Perfect.
กลุ่ม 3 ค่ะ
มาเลย right good.
Project execution is the phrase that you have to do as you plan. So the success of this phrase, your plan need to be accurate. So basically, project execution plan brings your team and your objective out. So you'll be able to map out how we will handle the project, what the key performance indicators are. So during project execution, factors may change at any time, requiring organizers to be ready to adjust an initial plan to cope with the actual situation.
All right.
ยังครับยัง Next, prepare to adjust an initial plan to cope with the recent situation in case the factor during in project execution can change at any time. Executing resources acquisition, organizers need to have a fundamental understanding of the resources acquisition process so that they can monitor and evaluate activity to ensure they deliver a quality event to client expectation and budget ครับผม
done perfect เข้ามาเลยครับ next มีไหมโอเคนะครับเดี๋ยวเราไปเบรกแล้วมาเลยครับ
For project execution, it is the success of dependent on planning accuracy or completeness. During execution, continuous modification of an initial plan will happen based on client requests and the unexpected events or conditions. So these are the 3 types of project execution. The first one is information distribution. It is concerned with communication among organizers, clients, and providers. It is intended to update project progress, identify potential issues that may happen with activity, and align expectations or outcomes with related parties. The second one is project admin. administration and modification. Factors may change at any time, requiring organizers to be ready to adjust an initial plan to cope with the actual situation. And the last one is executing resources acquisition. Organizers need to have a fundamental understanding of the resource acquisition process so that they can monitor and evaluate the procuring activity. During project execution, organizers should monitor and control this task until the event date to be sure that they deliver a quality event that meets client expectation and budget.
Good perfect เข้ามาเลยนะครับครบยัง มาเลย
What is the project closing for MICE event? Although completed program and activities mark the beginning of this phase, there are still additional activities that must be done after delivering what client wanted. Administrative closure is one such an activity which involves preparing documentation of the products or processes delivered to the customer and obtaining approval. This also includes recognizing that these deliverables have been provided and redistributing project assets that were rented. Thank you.
Thank you so much fun right perfect เข้ามาเลยถ้าครบแล้วเราไปเบรกให้เบรกไหมฮะเบรกกด1เข้ามาครับ โอเคเนี่ยเดี๋ยวเราไปเบรกก่อนนะเดี๋ยวครึ่งหลังเนี่ยจะต้องทวนแล้วกันนะครับแต่ว่าเป็น midterm โน่นนี่นั่นไปนะงั้นไปเบรกดีกว่า15 นาทีกด1เข้ามาเลยนะใครอยากเบรกนี่กด1เลยนะครับ alright 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 พร้อมยังครับพร้อมกด2เข้ามานิดนึงเดี๋ยวเราจะเล่าข้อสอบ midterm ให้ฟัง it is important key lesson for today class. All right, so just because so actually for a midterm exam, right? It has been set to an on-site exam, but I think that for me, the class is expected to understand deeply in terms of like a core content, or even you need to do a practical skill for final project presentation you get here. So for the first half for midterm exam, right? The key concept here is that you have to choose 4 out of 6 questions, right? So you are allowed to do open books exam or even free writing here, and then just write into the document file or convert into PDF file and then submit, upload the file into the Google form, right? Just because I think we have to use paperless instead of thing, right? Run online, but you need to be at the on-site here, right? Required questions here 1 to 3. All required questions, meaning that you have to cover for the first 3 questions, right? It's all about like the content matters for what we are going to study here. And the second is that additional question. This is a key critical thinking or even analysis a bit, just because it's not that easy for the core question. But I do believe that you've been research or try hard a bit and then just edit or make sure that this is the best for your writing, right? Okay, so here is all about the concept for midterm exam. So the test schedule has been set to 15 March 2023, right? So 9 to 12 o'clock. Room the same, right? 701. Yep. All right, so for the first question that you are going to write is that this kind of question. So you can see this is a core content, right? What have you learned from the following aspect? 1.1 here, the differentiation of the definition, right, of meetings, right? And then purpose of corporate meetings. So what you need to understand is that I can say try to make sure the difference between the two first, and then try to connect to each other. So you can do what is different, what is similarity, and what is interconnected if you want to respond for the first question here, right? Okay. And then second, how does meeting industry where you facilitate or help industry trend in the present time? Just make sure that you're involved with the current time and future. I mean, like just because the trend might be accessible, right? And really quick, really fast growing here. So what you understand from meeting or corporate meeting here can help or facilitate industry. Try to explain a bit for this kind of question, okay? Next one is that state the corporate meeting categories and example. So here you don't have to elaborate or explain much, but I can say that you have to just list as a bullet point. It would be advantage here. Yeah. And then next one is just compare between corporate meeting in Thailand. Okay, so meaning that you have to understand the way of Thailand first, and then the global way or the standard of way you change here. Listing 1, 2, 3, 4 cover here, right? So free writing, meaning that it doesn't mean that you can write in a form of essay, but for the additional one would be like in the form essay. Again, I'm going to show you again, right? And then the last question is that example stakeholder in corporate meeting industry. So it talks about the chapter 1 that we are going to study for meeting or corporate meeting here, right? So I can say it might be useful for the project planning and final project too. So just review and discuss and plan ahead. You can write in a form of PDF file or even the document. Yeah. นะฮะผ่านไปแล้ว1 ข้อเคลียร์ไหมฮะเคลียร์พิมพ์เคลียร์ เคลียร์ก่อนนะฮะเดี๋ยว move ไปทำข้อ 2 Thank you so much. All right, so moving to review midterm exam number 2, question number 2. So as you can see from this slide, I'm going to let you share the idea of understanding, right? Deep understanding from this kind of aspect, just because I think that in order to make sure that you can plan for the project management here, you need to understand or initiate with the background even knowledge here, right? So if you for the second question, you have to cover for this kind of question, sorry, 3.5, maybe you can run again, right? Why incentive travel is important. Okay, so what you need to say is that the significant or even important necessary thing of incentive travel and why this kind of business is important for you. How many type of incentive travel program? Just list down and then connect to each other. You can use some kind of transition and also but things like that, right? And then state the significant and important of incentive travel here. I can say that you have to make sure that incentive travel here can show the benefit, right, to the society or even people, agent, things like that, and why we have to run this kind of business together. Next is that what are some measurement of key success to the incentive travel? Again, it talks about the validity or even the success or key evaluation, measurement of key success here. Why incentive travel have to come along with this kind of criteria here. Also, trend incentive travel in Thailand, right? And key stakeholders here. Actually, for the key stakeholder here, you have to make sure and put it right into the answer chart here, just because I need you to mention 1, 2, 3, right? Just list down, right? Free writing, so there is no need to concern about the the grammar or even the style of writing, but just make sure that you put the core content into that question. That's it. ได้นะ question ไม่ยากนะครับพิมพ์ good นิดนึงถ้าใครเคลียร์แล้วพิมพ์ good เข้ามา good midterm สำคัญนะรีวิวแค่นี้พอนะไม่ต้องคิดมากอันนี้ require question นะครับตัวที่มีดอกจันเนี่ย require นะ require หมายความว่าต้องทำนะครับ moving to the next one question number 3. Again, right? So for this question, I can see, as you can see, like, actually, this is kind of the core question is that making differentiation, differences, similarity, things like that, right? For this question, you need to make sure that all of concept, right, have put into the same, the same thing. Like, for example, like meeting, convention, or even exhibition here, things like that. So the core question here is that you need to compare between past and present of a convention business developed in this day. So for this question is a little bit, explore the idea more and more, right? It's not that just only for the content in that paper, but you can use as a main paper here. And also you have to research a bit what happened to the past time and then what happening to the present time, or even what is going to happen in the future too, right? Okay, so talks about the development of convention business in this day. And then mention future trend convention business, right? And the benefit of my industry. So for this question, I would say that it might be really useful and beneficial for all of you if you can run or operate the trend a bit, just because it seems to, correlate this kind of business to each other. And the last one is that how does technology bring benefit my business in the future? Talk about the future, right? So I would say that for this question, you have to understand, right, the let's say like a high technology or even cutting edge technology that can be applied into the mice business here. So for this question, it's a little bit tricky, but I can say that I hope that you understood, and then you can apply to each other. Clear นะ clear พิมพ์ clear clear หน่อยนะครับนะครับ3 4 5 6 alright ดีมาก and the last so you can see from question number 4 5 and 6 is that what you did in our assignment, right? So meaning that you can edit or even like proofread or even research for more if you want to, just because at that time I just let you list down what you are going to say, or even some of you may write some essay already, right? And then I would say that if can be like save your time, you just choose question, only choose, right, 1 of 3 here. Question number 4, this one. Question number 5, this one. And then question number 6, this one. So we can see from the question is that it integratedly combine all of concept, right, for my business here. And then just make sure that you write something here. So the key evaluation here is that you need to write for I don't expect on the word count, but at least you have to write at least 500 words for this kind of additional question, right? Again, right, you're gonna have like 3 required questions and then choose only 1 additional question here and cover for 4 out of 6 here. So again, right? So for the first question for additional test here, justify and evaluate the trend of my businesses, right? Have reviewed and identified cause of changes in both domestic and international level, right? In according to the standard of trend effectiveness. So here is all about well research a bit, just because I can say that it doesn't, you can use for some basic from the paper, but anyway, searching for some information on the internet might be crucial too. And then review the key content from this link if you want to choose this one, right? Moving to second question from additional test here. So according to the convention and exhibition, so just focus on the 2 concepts here, right? The idea of significance of convention, exhibition, right? Things like that for today business. And I would say that you have to plan or use some strategic planning to formulate, right? Information is kind of related together, or even factor contributing that need to, handle with those difficulties while running business here. If you want to choose here, just proofreading and rewrite again. Yep. And the last question is that justify perspective on impact. This one might be a little bit tricky and challenging, just because you need to understand the environmental problems which is affect to the mice businesses here, right? And also the way that you can operate and organize, handle this kind of crisis again and again, right? For example, here, climate change, COVID-19 outbreak, or telecommunication, or even some kind of difficulties that might be affect to this kind of business too, right? Done. Okay นะฮะ clear ไหมฮะ clear แล้วพิมพ์ xy ครับผมใคร clear ขอบังคับคุณ clear นิดนึงนะฮะเดี๋ยวให้เวลาไป plan prepare นะครับไม่มีอะไรมากมีคำถามไหมครับสอบวันที่15นะสอบวันที่15แล้วก็วีคหน้าออนไซต์นะครับสั่งออนไซต์ตั้งแต่มีนาแล้วกันนะครับโอเคก็ไปแพลนมานะครับมีทั้งหมด6ข้อ เราตอบกันใน Google Form นะครับตอบกันใน Google Form แต่ว่าอัปโหลดนะอาจารย์จะให้เราอัปโหลดไฟล์ขึ้นนะครับข้อ1 2 3บังคับนะฮะก็ไป well plan ดีๆนะครับส่วน4 5 6เนี่ยเลือกมา1หมายความว่าเลือกมา1เราเขียนกันอยู่แล้วบางคนก็เขียนดีมากนะแต่ว่ายังไม่ได้ไปตรวจเฉยๆไม่เป็นไรก็ไปเขียนใหม่แล้วกันนะครับให้มัน perfect ขึ้นแล้วก็ส่งขึ้นมาในวันที่15อีกทีหนึ่งนะฮะเคลียร์นะ XY เข้ามาเลยครับจะปิด job แล้ว Do you have a limit for question ไม่ limit ครับno limit word meaning that you have to cover for all questions okay นะโอเคนะฮะไม่มี limit word นะครับ alright ครับผมประมาณนี้งั้นวันนี้ก็เลิกเร็วได้ไหม เลิกเร็วนะ Thank you so much for today's class and see you next week ลืมบอกไปแป๊บหนึ่งขอโทษนะ next week เนี่ยเนื่องจากว่าครึ่งหลังนะเราต้องทำโปรเจกต์เบอร์ใหญ่นิดหนึ่งนะครับสไตล์ ELC ทีนี้เนี่ย next week เนี่ยเราจะต้องมานั่งคุยเดี๋ยวจะให้แบ่งกลุ่มใหม่เหลือแค่4นะครับเหลือแค่4เพราะว่าจะมีทีมพรีเซนต์แค่4ทีมเท่านั้นทีนี้ให้เราไปแพลนพวกนี้นิดหนึ่งนะครับproject title สำหรับวีคหน้านะวีคหน้ายังไม่สอบนะครับวีคหน้าโน้นคือสอบก็คือดูในเรื่องของ project title background พวกนี้นะ clear thank you so much for today's class and see you next week bye bye ขอบคุณครับ